Hi there guys, my name's Craig from Slightly Unusual. On today's vlog, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things that you need to avoid at your wedding if you want your wedding to be absolutely awesome. So if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're getting married. First of all, congratulations. You're probably planning everything right now, and it's fair to say that you want your wedding to be awesome. This blog is about 5 things that you need to avoid if you want your wedding to be absolutely amazing. You see, brides and grooms, they think about all the stuff that they need to do, but sometimes they forget about the stuff that they really shouldn't be doing. So without further ado, let's have a look at number 1. Number 1. Don't forget about the entertainment. You know what? You're probably thinking, well, duh, it's fairly obvious that a guy who runs an entertainment company would be banging home about how important entertainment is, but it really is. 78% of brides said looking back at their wedding, they wish they'd spent more money on entertainment. That was a survey from Bridal magazine. And the reason's very simple. When it's all said and done, people don't remember about the chair covers or the colour of them, or whether there were fizzy cola bottles on the sweet stand. They remember the memories and experiences that are created throughout the day and into the evening, and the entertainment's a big part to play about that. Think about every single wedding that you've ever been to as a guest. The ones that stand out are the ones where there's something different or unique or something unusual happening. You don't normally remember the ones that are paint by numbers. You really have to think about the entertainment, and a lot of brides and grooms, they think about the other stuff and they'll sit there for hours working out what colour scheme the chair should be, and you know what, when the guests come in, they'll look at that and then they won't remember it a day later or 2 days later. But you get really good entertainment, they'll remember it for the rest of their life. So it's really important when you're planning your wedding, don't forget about the entertainment. That's really important. Number 2, another thing to avoid is going over the top. Don't go overboard. You know what? This is probably the only time you're going to get married. And so there's a temptation there to go absolutely ridiculous. We were booked to do a wedding about a year ago now. They'd hired 3 stand-up comedians. They'd hired 4 bands, 3 singers. They'd hired a full illusion act, circus troops, fire performers, the 4 caricaturists. Honestly, it was the biggest event I'd ever seen. And it almost became a circus. What you want to do is you want to make sure that everything that you have at your wedding has a point. You want to make sure that you don't go over the top. Don't go overboard. The temptation is to go overboard. I went to a wedding the other day, and the bride and groom had actually hired a trained owl to come down during the wedding reception, holding the ring, so that when they say, have you got the ring, the owl flies down onto the groom's hand and delivers the ring. And you know what? Sometimes when you do that sort of stuff, you're kind of going into Ricky Gervais territory. You know what I mean? We're talking about maybe a little bit too cheesy. You want to make sure, and they did that. I spoke to the bride and groom. They did that because they were suggested it by their mom and dad. They didn't even want to do it themselves. So look, here, at the end of the day, don't go over top. Make a list of all the stuff that you want to do and make sure it has a point, and don't go crazy with everything. Don't go overboard. Number 3, don't wing it when it comes to the speeches. You know what? That's the speeches are one of the things that a lot of brides and grooms, especially grooms, are most nervous about. And I've been to weddings where the groom has just completely winged it, and it's been terrible. It's been awful. You know what? I can understand why. You're asking somebody who has no experience speaking in public to stand in front of maybe 100 people of his closest friends and family and talk about something which everybody is expecting to be funny. And if you don't deliver, it can be cringeworthy, it can be embarrassing. You know what? I've seen it happen an awful lot. My advice to you would be to not wing it, okay? If you've got to make a speech, if you're a groom and you've got to make a speech, make sure you spend time and effort on putting that together and rehearsing it over and over again. And you know what I do? For a very small amount, you can actually have a script writer sit down with you and write a script with you. You can even go on half-day courses these days where you'll actually get taught how to be a public speaker and how to actually deliver a speech properly at a wedding. And you know, when you think about how much money you're going to spend on a wedding, and I'm going to spend £20,000 on this and £5,000 on this and £1,000 on this, spending like a couple of £100 to learn how to speak properly at a wedding during the speech so that everybody finds it hilarious, it's worth every penny, you know. But if you're putting a speech together, please don't wing it. Number 4, the big thing to avoid: don't get too drunk. You know, it's the thing that everyone does, isn't it? It's like, it's my wedding, I'm going to get absolutely plastered, I'm going to get absolutely sozzled, I'm going to drink. And you know what? You want to remember this day. You don't want to be in a situation where you wake up the next day and you can't remember anything after the ceremony because you've been drinking all night. Look, at the end of the day, it's your wedding. I can't tell you whether to drink or not. But we got booked once to do an illusion show for a bride and groom that love magic. They got engaged in Vegas and they wanted us to come along and do a full illusion show with, you know, like girls and boxes and fireworks and everything. And you know what? By the time we went on stage during the evening reception, they had already basically passed out in the corner of the room. And they rung me the next day saying everybody loved the performance, but they wish they hadn't been drunk because they completely missed it. And you know, you can spend an absolute fortune on the evening reception. You want to remember what's gone on. You know, I've been to weddings in the past where the groom has been drunk and unable to do the speech by the time the speech came round because he got drunk leading up to it during the wedding breakfast. You know, nobody's saying don't drink. I love to drink. Everybody loves to drink. But on your wedding day, you know, maybe do it in a bit of moderation so you can remember it. You know, you want to remember the fun that you've had, not just have a banging headache. Number 5, finally, make sure that you're pleasing yourself and not other people. And what I mean by that is you want the wedding that you want. And the problem is when you announce that you're getting married, you're going to have lots of people suggesting to you that the way they would do it. And I want to have my wedding this way, and I want to have my wedding this way. I've met so many clients that have actually gone and booked venues, or they've actually done something at their wedding. And the only reason they've done it is because they've been told to by their respective parents or other well-meaning individuals that have got involved in their wedding planning. At the end of the day, it's you that's getting married. It's your special day. You're the one that's spending the money. It really should be you and up to you how your wedding is. So the perfect example is me. I got married in Las Vegas. Now, the reason that we did that is because my wife has a huge family. And when we announced we were getting married, they were trying to dictate everything. They were trying to dictate where we got married, when we got married, what would happen during the ceremony, absolutely everything. And my wife hated it. She was in tears. So I said, look, let's just go and elope. So we went and bought ourselves a ticket to Las Vegas. We went and got a wedding dress. And we went to Vegas for a couple of weeks. We got married in Circus in the chapel there. We organised it beforehand. And we sent an email to all of her family and all of my family the night before saying, hey, it's Craig and Sarah. We're in Vegas. We're getting married tomorrow. Here's a link that you can watch the wedding live over the internet. We're streaming it live. When we get back, we'll have a big party. See ya. And you know what? That was probably quite extreme. We loved it. It worked for us. You know what? My wife's family didn't speak to me for about 6 months, which was another bonus, to be perfectly honest. But you know what? We did that because that was what we wanted to do. And ultimately, it made me happy. It made my wife happy. I got to see Penn and Teller on our wedding night. All was good. The point is, you don't have to go and elope and stream your wedding over the internet. But what you do need to make sure of is that everything that's happening in that wedding, you want it to be because that's something you want. You don't want to be looking at your wedding and going, why am I doing this? Why am I wearing this? Why am I even getting married here? Why am I holding the reception here? When it's not what you want, okay? So the important thing is make sure that you please yourself and not other people. So there you have it, 5 things that you should avoid if you want your wedding to be amazing. I'll even throw an extra tip in now, and I'll throw one thing in that you really should do if you want your wedding to be amazing, and that's contact Slightly Unusual. In all seriousness, guys, we can do everything from close-up magic all the way up to a large-scale grand illusion show. We're wedding specialists. We do 200 or 300 weddings a year. So if you'd like to speak to us about having close-up magic or a stage show at your wedding, if you want a no obligation consultation, just go to www.slightlyunusual.co.uk and fill in the contact form. We'll get back to you straight away. Or check out our videos. Go on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe. Click on the wedding playlist. You'll see loads of live performances of us performing at the wedding. And let's be honest, wouldn't you like your guests to react like the people in those videos? If you would, my name's Craig from Slightly Unusual. Make sure you get in touch. Click subscribe down below because then we'll notify you when these videos go live, and I'll see you again next Friday with another vlog.